Agriculture Undersecretary Leocado Sebastian told lawmakers yesterday that the president's promise of bringing down the price of rice at 20 per kilo remains a far-fetched possibility, citing several external factors. Do you agree with this? Will Filipinos ever see a 20 per kilo rice under this administration?
Our position has always been that we need to increase productivity in agriculture. All right. What drives low prices are increases in productivity. If you can increase substantially the productivity of our farms, for example, our current yield per hectare is about 4 tons per hectare. No, why can't we raise that to 6 to 7 tons per hectare, that's like many other countries, right? And we know what needed to be done to achieve those. You need to invest in irrigation, you need to invest in modern high-yielding varieties, you need to invest in pest controls, and so on, no? Invest in logistics. Unfortunately, those cannot be done overnight, no? Especially, as I was saying earlier, you need investment. You need the private sector to invest in logistics, to invest in post-harvest facilities. We need government to build more irrigation systems, durable, resilient irrigation systems. We need to develop varieties that are resilient to climate change, to floods. Those cannot happen overnight. But if we can do this, and if we can do that, we should be able to reduce prices substantially. Prices need not be this be high, as you can see it from other countries. You look at Thailand, you look at Indonesia, Vietnam. Those prices are much lower than us because their productivity is high. Farm productivity is high. We have neglected agriculture for decades, and that's what we are trying now to reverse. We are putting a lot of resources into agriculture intended to create those productivity growth.
Secretary, with these interventions and agri-policies being undertaken by the government, do we have a timeline or kailan po kaya maasahan ng Pilipino yung 20 pesos per kilo na rice? Meron pa kayong timeline na tinitingnan?
No, we should have done this, as I said, those investment many years ago. But there's a lot of catching up. Even the infrastructure that we have just discussed earlier, many of those are going to be completed beyond 2028, the time of the president. But we are not looking at just this time period. No, we are looking at the sustainability. We are looking at the medium term. For us, the Marcos administration look at ambition natin 2040 as its peg for its medium-term plan, no? Yung ambition natin 2040 is, let's say, the prosperity, the inclusive prosperity, the shared prosperity that we all want by 2040. But that progress has to be sustained over the next 2 more administrations after the Marcos administration. So ganon yung catch up that we as a country need to do to join the ranks of our neighbors. So I can't say that by next year you should be able to that's asking for the moon. It's that that's not going to happen, because as I said, there's so much catch up thing to do, so much constraints that we are now addressing. But of course, it's whole of society. We need to get everyone part of this whole game.
Very good. Maricel Halili for the last question.
Sir, just a quick clarification, follow-up po kay Nestor's question. You mentioned earlier that there's a lot of catching up that we have to do because we have neglected agriculture sector for decades. Does it mean that it will be difficult for us to achieve 20 pesos per kilo of rice before the end of this administration?
I'm not saying that. It may still be possible. Again, we are not in control of so many things, no? Assuming that we progressed in raising productivity, you should be able to increase the purchasing power. Alam mo niyo, ang pinaka-importante naman sa farmers, sa poor is yung purchasing power nila, right? So if you can prevent the purchasing power of every Filipino from being eroded by inflation, that is a good direction to take, no? So we can increase the purchasing power of the poor if we can get those inflation of those prices coming down, not just the inflation rate coming down, but the absolute prices coming down, no? So yun ang ang goal natin. We are looking at the broader picture. Again, it's nice to look at one commodity like rice, but in our framework for prosperity and inclusivity for all, we look at those other considerations, no, that matter most. Kasi if you reduce naman prices of rice, halimbawa to 20, you can actually do that, no? You can actually do that. But if you don't increase productivity while you are doing that, then the farmers will suffer. The rice farmers will suffer. So that's the one thing that you have to understand. Our president make a promise to reduce the prices of rice. That has to be taken in the context that what we will do is to increase productivity. Because if we reduce the prices of rice at that level without commensurate increase in productivity, who will suffer? It's the farmers that you are trying to protect, right? So you should be very careful that you're looking at this game, in a as comprehensive manner as possible.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Secretary Balisacan.
Hi, Secretary.
Hi.
Sabi po ng Department of Budget and Management, nabigo yung unang pag-aaral nila para sa panukalang panibagong salary standardization law for next year sana. Kayo po ba ay nakonsulta rin hinggil dito? At kung if so, sir, ano po ang posisyon ng NEDA para sa dito sa panibagong panukala na ito? At hindi po ba makatutulong din sa pag-ikot ng ekonomiya kung madadagdagan ang sweldo ng mga kawani ng gobyerno?
That's right, pinag-aaralan naman yan. I think that the economic managers do coordinate, talk about as important programs as like this, no? Of course, when we decide on whether to give and at what level we give, I think it's just a question now of how much. But I think that there is a provision in the budget for 2024, for example, for for a salary increase, no? But it's just a question of what is affordable from the viewpoint of the broader interest, because we have to look into the other issues. It's not just the workers in government. We do care about, of course, on the welfare of the government, but we work as a country. We look at the other issues, no? To make sure that we are not, because in the budget, you put a ceiling. We have a ceiling, so if you put more money for government workers, you have to take that away from somewhere, right? Are you taking that away from the health, from the education, from social protection, from mga ganon, no? So you have to weigh carefully the other interests to make sure that what we achieve is a win-win situation.